Welcome to the third episode of Rust to Road. Today I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is some parts have arrived. The bad news is I really don't know how to put them on.
Previously on Rust to Road, we removed the inner rear arch, lost a fight with the rear end plate, and named our Mx-5 Bonnie McMiata. On this episode, we'll go through some of the parts I've ordered for her and get her back to bare metal by removing the last of the rear sill and box section. If you're enjoying the journey, now would be a great time to smash that subscribe button.
Let's start with a little unboxing. It really is like Christmas. Rear inner sill plate. Or inner sill. It goes here. Bottom of ours is missing, so I don't think we'll need all of it, but probably a good half. Rear end plate, which I made a dog's dinner of getting off. That has to go back on there, as snug as we can get it, but it's not rusty, so that's a good start. And this is a floor piece, which I think we're going to try and use to fabricate the other missing bits. With no experience whatsoever, but overconfidence and a lot of determination. So, I'll bring you in closer, we can have a look. I actually think we're going to start with the outer sill because it is pretty tight in there and we don't have a lift.
I'm trying to work out how much of the real sill I should cut off, going with the theory that the less I cut off, the easier it'll be to put back together.
Now you can see these guide holes, so we can kind of line up exactly where it needs to go using them. And this is all really solid, so slice below those holes.
Cutting away the bottom of the sill was basically a step-by-step process of cutting a bit away and pulling it off with pliers, cutting a bit more away and pulling it off with pliers. I learned a lot from last time in the spot welds, so now I'd highly recommend you get a smaller cobalt drill bit to drill a pilot hole. This will make it so much easier when you get your big drill bit out and drill the whole spot weld away.
Spot welds are drilled out, bottom, this bit should now come off. Don't think that's supposed to be loose. You should not be able to pull bits off your car with your bare hands. So there's quite how crusty that has become. That's the worst of this floor panel taken off, and I've gone and trimmed a wee test patch of the floor panel kind of thing that I bought, and look at that. That's going to go in there just lovely. Underneath you'll see the ridge. That's going to be what the inner sill hooks around. That is looking good. So I don't know how far back to take it. I think this metal, I would say, is looking thinner than the outer inner sill, as you will. Doesn't look too bad. Like that's, if you look at that, it's still thick. Pretty solid. So I think it might just be surface rust. I'm tempted to maybe take it back like a little bit more. Maybe past this dent where it's been maybe jacked, because I did find a bunch of, at least it's maybe filler, or it could just be sealant to be fair, along this inner ridge. So I think take it back one level more, and I'm glad I did because that is weak. I've done a bit off camera because you can't really see what's going on anyway because you're under the car. So cut along here, drilled out the spot welds underneath of the it's this bit here, inner sill. So how it looks under there is this. So this folded, this is inner sill, so that's like that. These are the spot welds I've drilled out, and that would sit like that, and the car comes up and over. How that works on the inside is that flat piece of floor, here's a segment of it here, kind of hooks in like that into the actual groove. You see that? That fold must let moisture in because it's loads of rubbish coming out of there, just loose rust. Inner metal is not too bad, so I don't know how far to go. I think the inner sill will come to here, so I might just keep going depending on how bad this rust looks once this next segment comes off.
I did my best to cut off the rear sill, the end of which is completely rusted away. This was a really satisfying moment. I then attached a grinding wheel to the angle grinder and started working away the surface rust.
With the worst of the surface rust now ground off, we've got one major job left for today, and that is the fabrication of our floor piece. It's pretty hard to film down there, so I'm going to get down and show you what I'm thinking. Welcome to floor cam then, and what you'll see is what we've done. A little bit of pitting on this, but very solid, not too worried. You'll see where we've ground out the spot welds, and this is our last challenge. This hole here, which should be a piece of floor. I've already cut out the worst of the rusty bits. So what we need to do is turn our floor panel into a piece of metal that fits this shape with absolutely no experience.
So this is our floor panel. I forgot to press record, so I'm going to talk you through exactly how you can turn this into roughly what I've got so far. Measure along how much you're going to need. Cut it. And what you're left with is a piece this long. Just cut 2 lines. Sorry. 2 lines. Again, measure the height I need this to be, and then just whacked it with a hammer. Back to floor cam, but let's have a look. So we need that to line up roughly like so, and you'll see that it's not quite in there. So I'll probably do this off camera, but basically I'm going to hack away a bit more of this. I'm thinking take off a bit like that, and then probably a little bit around here just so it fits up into this. So what I've done is stenciled the bit I want to cut off, and I'm going to use a handsaw because I'm too scared to use a spinny saw. So after many hours of cutting and chipping away at it, this is what I'm left with. So it's going to slide into the car like this. End plate goes here. Inner sill hooks underneath this. So all I want to do is get this right angle, which looks a bit clumsy now, into this curved angle. I know it needs to start on the blue mark, so I'm going to give it a bash and we'll see how we get to. Right, it isn't perfect, and it certainly isn't pretty. I think that piece will be weldable in. Right, I definitely forgot to press record on at least some of that, but let's call a recap on today. Rear inner sill plate is off, which was a fight. We've taken out the box section we need to replace. We've done a decent start at fabricating this piece of sheet metal, which we can slide back in, and I think we're going to call it there. In the next episode, things are getting serious. So if you haven't already subscribed and you want to see what happens next, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much.